Good morning. We're breaking down something that just happened and why it's about to reshape the entire Middle East. Late last night, the U.S. military struck Iran again. Not a diplomatic move, not a warning. An actual kinetic strike near the Strait of Hormuz, intercepting 4 Iranian drones headed toward a commercial vessel. And if you're thinking, wait, didn't we just do this on Tuesday? Yes, we did. This is the second strike in days, right in the middle of ceasefire negotiations that are supposedly 95% complete. Here's the problem nobody's talking about. If the U.S. can bomb Iran with 0 consequences, and that doesn't count as a ceasefire violation, then Iran just lost everything it won on the battlefield. Everything. And Iran knows it. So hours later, they fired a ballistic missile at Kuwait, successfully intercepted according to U.S. Central Command. But here's what matters. The ceasefire is already dead. It's just nobody's admitted it yet. Now, why are we even having a ceasefire that isn't ceasing? Because the original war was a complete disaster and nobody wants to say that out loud. The stated objectives were simple: reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which was already open, stop Iran from building nuclear weapons, which Iran wasn't building. That's it. Instead, we obliterated their nuclear program, which means it now needs to be obliterated again, which means they need to turn it over to someone. None of it makes logical sense for even 5 seconds. Gas is sitting around $4.35 a gallon nationally. The entire operation was supposed to be quick and clean. It wasn't. So now Trump is trying to rebrand this as something historic. He's demanding that Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar immediately join the Abraham Accords and normalize relations with Israel. No conditions, no Palestinian state pathway. Just do it. And these countries are silent on the phone. They're not saying yes. They're not saying no. They're saying nothing because their populations won't accept it. These are monarchies. Modern monarchies. They have social contracts. The UAE works because people are frankly filthy rich. Saudi Arabia has a massive population that actually cares about Palestinian issues. Qatar, when I lived there, you'd see donation boxes in public for Palestinian causes, families putting money in. This has been happening for decades. You can't just flip a switch and say, okay, we're normalizing with Israel now and expect 0 internal pushback. It doesn't exist. Not at that scale. But here's where it gets insane. Trump didn't just demand this from the Gulf states. He threatened Oman. Oman, the one country that was actually trying to stop the war. The one country with real diplomatic relationships on both sides. The Omani foreign minister went on Face the Nation the day before the war started and said, none of this has to happen. There's still a way out. He met with the vice president, and we now know from behind the scenes that the decision to attack Iran had already been made. It was a week before, even while they were pursuing these negotiations. So Oman, this ally, this mediator, this country that actually believed in de-escalation, got threatened. Trump said, and I'm quoting directly, Oman will behave just like everybody else and we'll have to blow them up. They understand that they'll be fine. Blow them up. Not blow up their military. Not blow up a specific site. Blow them up. The entire country. Because they asked for environmental fees on the Strait of Hormuz instead of full international control. Let's think about what that means. Oman is one of only 2 countries with any ability to control the Strait of Hormuz. It's a U.S. ally. It has good relations with Iran. It was literally the only regional player trying to prevent this entire war. And now the President of the United States is threatening to destroy it because it wants a seat at the table on something that directly affects its economy and security. Compare that to what's happening in Lebanon right now. Beirut is being lit on fire. Israel is sending troops into new Lebanese villages. Nothing from the president. Not a word. Not a threat. Not even a suggestion that maybe, possibly, Israel should follow the ceasefire agreement it just signed. But Oman gets threatened with annihilation. Here's what this reveals. Trump doesn't actually want a deal. He wants a victory lap. He wants something he can call historic so he can tell people the entire war was worth it. Because if the war ends now, if we just sign the ceasefire as negotiated, that's an admission. It's an admission that we spent months, killed thousands of people, destabilized an entire region, and got nothing. The Strait of Hormuz is still there. Iran's nuclear program is still there. Nothing changed except the body count. So he's adding the Abraham Accords at the last minute as a way to rebrand this as some grand bargain, some new thing, some historic achievement. But it's not. It's desperation dressed up as diplomacy. Meanwhile, the Iranians are watching this. They're watching us bomb their military sites. They're watching Trump threaten their neighbors. They're watching Israel say out loud that it will not allow the U.S. to make a deal with Iran. Ben-Gvir said that publicly. Israel will not let the U.S. go forward with a deal with Iran. So the Iranians have a choice. They can either accept a humiliating ceasefire where they give up everything they won and get nothing in return, or they can keep fighting. And every day that Trump makes comments like this, every day that we strike Iranian targets, every day that Israel blocks any potential agreement, that choice gets easier. The only way out is through. That's what the neocons are saying. That's what's happening. And as the days tick by, it seems more and more like that's the direction we're heading. The ceasefire was fragile. It was always fragile, but it's not fragile because of Iran. It's fragile because we broke it. We broke it with strikes. We broke it with threats. We broke it with demands that make no sense and serve no strategic purpose except to give one person a way to claim victory. And now we're threatening to blow up the countries that are trying to help us. That's where we are. That's the situation. And the scary part, this is just getting started.